Hello, and welcome to Ghosts Spill the Tea with myself, Paranormal Mitch.
And Paranormal Teach.
We have an awesome episode planned for you today. We're talking about portals.
Yeah. And
Yes.
what did Emerald tell us? So our friend Emerald, who's a psychic medium, who's
Yes.
been on our show in the past, she gave us a lot of information
Yes.
from her personal experience for this episode. So shout out to Emerald Dark.
Yes. And anytime we have something that we don't know about, we ask Emerald.
Yeah.
Because she probably knows.
So she informed a lot of this episode.
Yes.
But as Emerald says, don't fuck with portals.
Do not fuck with portals.
That's a direct quote.
That is a direct quote. She made that very clear to me about it. I was asking so many questions. She's like, oh, just don't fuck with the portals. And I'm like, I have no intention to, but thank you for reminding me.
And we're going to tell you why.
We're going to tell you why. Awesome.
We've experienced this before, and it is, in fact, some shit.
Things get a little spooky.
Yeah.
A little spooky.
A little bit.
And we're used to spooky, and this was kind of a different kind of spooky.
No, this is built different.
But we'll get into it.
Yeah.
We'll get into it. Okay, so what are portals? That's so basically portals are exactly what they sound like, right? There's some sort of barrier, some sort of break, some sort of change between two places, right? It comes from the word porta in Latin, directly translating to gate. I got a definition here. As you know,
like a gate to the other side.
Kind of.
A little bit.
Got it. So portals, literally meaning gates, are some break between two distinct places. It's basically like a doorway. That's kind of how Emerald explained it. It's some sort of threshold between one place and the next. It doesn't have to be like, a portal to another dimension, right? Like we'll talk about in a bit. But in the spiritual sense, a portal is some sort of breaking point between our version of the world and another version of the world, right? And that could be however your brain wants to process that. That is that an afterlife, is some space in between, a fey realm. There's lots of
time.
Things. Yeah.
Heard that too.
That's purely up to interpretation. And I think a lot of different sort of cultures interpret that differently. I think in the sense that we know here, we're very familiar with would be like the afterlife.
And you may be wondering, why in the world are we talking about portals on a haunted doll show? Well, objects can be portals too. And sometimes a haunted doll is not a traditional haunted doll where there's one spirit. Sometimes the object itself is actually a portal. And we'll give some examples of that. We've experienced that ourselves.
Yes.
We'll give some examples of that later, but that is why you get to hear about this today.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And we have a very fun example of a haunted doll that we know.
Yeah.
That is a portal in a bit. And
Yes.
we'll talk about him later. But when I was talking to Emerald, I was very confused because I was like, well, do you see a portal? Do you just kind of like go through a portal? Like, what is that like? So she said that she's seen portals before. In nature is where a lot of portals you'll find. There's basically ones that are natural and ones that are, I guess we'll use the word man-made, right? Or artificial in some way. In nature, a lot of times very common spots that are portals are water, right? So think like wells, rivers, any sort of break between two things. That's very common, especially in like, I think it was Greek culture a lot of times, or Greek mythology. Like water is a huge portal with that. And I think we have a lot of spirits that very highly connect to water, right? And even we've had experiences where water, and we've talked about this too, of like almost everywhere we've went,
super haunted location
has
we've gone
water.
to has had water. So Bachelor's Grove, the cemetery, is actually like attached to like a pond type of situation. Like it is, cemetery, and then you walk and there's water. Bell Witch Cave.
Bell Witch Cave is another one.
Right on like on a river. They call it the Red River. Bell Witch Cave was on that. We've seen that over and over when we went to Hinton, West Virginia. That haunted town we went to
is right next to a river.
Yep, more river. So Union Station Hotel.
Yeah,
that one was also on the water. Like we just see this over and over and over again. Like there does seem to be a pretty significant tie between water and haunted places, which is fascinating. People have actually made the joke to us. Like I've had friends that are like, how come haunted dolls are so active at your house? And like I have a friend of mine who I've taken on a couple haunted dolls from her collection. She's like, they did nothing at my house, and then at your house they're like out of their minds. why is that? And she's joked. She's like, do you live like on top of a cemetery or something? I'm like, no, but we do live down the street from a lake.
Yeah.
So
a pretty big lake.
Yeah.
Like a lake you can boat on.
Yeah.
It's not
so,
like a pond. Well, we actually have a pond really close too.
And I do think that facilitates some of the paranormal activity in our own house as well, is how close we are to the water.
Yes.
So.
And that is my desire to turn our backyard into a little pond.
Okay. It's news to me.
It'll never happen, but one day maybe. So natural portals are, we kind of discussed that a little bit. The other way that portals can be created, we're gonna very much use the gross term of magic in this sense, because obviously you can break it up a lot of different ways, but we're just gonna use the term magic to kind of be an umbrella term for this. They can be created by accident. It can be created on purpose. It can be created for a certain a reason, but it also can be a mirror. Mirrors are a really big example of a portal. And I asked Emerald specifically, I was like, why mirrors? Like, it seems so strange. Like, it's just a thing. And I'm going to try my best to try and kind of remember what she talked about. But she basically said, you have to remember that it's basically like another version of what you see. Right. So it's almost like kind of cliche, like in scary movies of like, oh, there's like someone through the mirror. Right. Like, that's kind of what it is. And she said, actually, the thing that you should be most scared of is if there's a mirror in front of you and a mirror behind you. And if you've ever been to something like that, like in an elevator or something like that, it kind of like has an infinite amount of like, like reflections, which is creating a ton of portals that something could potentially go through.
And we had a bit of a revelation. My mom's house is extremely haunted, and she gets an astronomical amount of just randoms. So many randoms, and a lot of them are not nice. She also lives near a hospital, which doesn't help. But one of the things my mom has in her house, and we never considered this when we were trying to figure out, like, we're like, how do we stop this? Like, this is getting crazy in her house.
Yeah.
She has a very interesting house in that she has 2 bathrooms that are mirrors, walls on every side of you. Mm-hmm. You can watch yourself go to the bathroom from every direction.
It's very uncomfortable. I was very taken aback first time I went in that bathroom. I was like,
living room,
oh my God.
The entire fireplace wall is mirrors.
Yes.
And then there is a mirror right on the other side.
Yes.
Just her entire house is literally full of mirrors because that was the decorating style at one point. It's outdated. Fortunately, she's redoing her house. I'm very interested to hear if it reduces.
That would actually be super interesting.
I'm really interested to hear if it reduces when some of the mirrors are taken out. Yeah. But portals can act as, or mirrors can act as portals. One other thing about mirrors is a lot of times mirrors have a ton of exposure to water. In your bathroom, right? Your mirror is usually right over your sink. So, water's getting splashed on it. You have like the steam coming up, the shower, fogs up your mirror. You have all of this water around them all the time, which also is going to drive the energy up. And there you go.
We'll also think about like, if you think of like nature's mirror, it would be water, right? You see the reflection of yourself in water.
Yeah.
It's very common too.
And mirrors also is like a very common, like almost like a superstition where like, there are a lot of people who don't know anything about the paranormal, but they're like, oh yeah, my family's always said, you never buy a mirror used at like a thrift store. Mm-hmm. I've heard that a lot. And they're like, why? Like, I get asked that question all the time. Like, yeah, my grandma used to say, never buy a mirror secondhand. Why would that be? This is
potentially why. Or like breaking a mirror is bad luck.
Yeah, that too.
Right. Now, besides mirrors and natural, one thing Emerald really was confident in is that other things that can be portals are things that you channel with, right? That you try and put energy into and try and like communicate. So like in our sense, like the Ouija board, the spirit box, those would be things that would be portals, right? Now it would be different in the sense of like, if you gave someone a piece of equipment, right, you're not directly channeling them. It's kind of going through a non-human thing. That's not necessarily a portal, for my understanding. But a lot of times, like if you are communicating with someone, like in your head, like telepathy, that could potentially be something going on. Or if spirit box, like is a great example. And that's why
literally just an electronic portal.
Exactly. And that's why it is very important to know what you're doing. This is also another example of why, I'm a firm believer in you never buy a Ouija board secondhand to use.
And you always say goodbye.
Yes, you always say
close
goodbye.
the portal.
Yes. You want to
you're
close
opening up
the
a portal.
Yes.
You want to close your portal. So I had a friend of mine, this is interesting, and she said that she watched somebody online who, to practice listening to their spirit box, would leave it on all night long.
Bro,
like
no.
for hours on end and fall asleep with it on.
No.
That is a really good example of purposely opening up a portal and leaving it open. Anything could come through that, and you have to be so careful. The other thing with gear that I see people run into, I have had 2 or 3 times now, people come to me and say, I've gotten a ton of negative stuff coming out of my spirit chat or my Ovilus, these like text-based tools, ton of negative stuff. I know it's not any of like my spirits, my haunted dolls. Why would that be? First thing I ask is, how are you doing it? Tell me about your process of how you're using your spirit chat. And they say, oh, well, I want my haunted dolls to be able to communicate all the time. So I plug it in so it doesn't lose charge. And I just leave it on all day. Or leave it on for a couple of hours so that I can go about my day and they can talk to me whenever they want, like keeping them on the phone. That is keeping a portal open in your house. And so then you're going to get randoms. You're going to start attracting things to this.
I mean,
that can come through.
Think of it like if you had friends that were your neighbors and then you just kept your door open, like,
and they could come and go
in case my neighbors want to come in and talk to me.
Yeah.
Like, well, sort of, but also like a random stranger could walk in your house.
Yeah. So that's when I always tell people, like,
stop.
Make sure you're using it in like a structured way.
Yes.
You're in a conversation, you guys are watching something together. You're having that conversation with them while you watch. Don't just crack that thing open and leave it open for the day, because you are keeping a door to the spirit world open. And like, I don't say this to scare you, but not everything over there you want walking in your house.
Absolutely not. Because you also have to remember, like, I feel like we have a pretty good grasp on like stuff that happens in our house. There's a lot of times where if something were to happen, I'm like, I don't know what the hell's going on and I don't want any part of it. Right. Thankfully, we have a lot of spirits who are very good about like safety and things like that. But protection and knowing what you're doing are incredibly important. Thankfully, if you don't know, we have an episode on communication.
Yep.
Right. So if you would like to go check that out, we talk a lot about our methods, which I feel like are pretty safe, but also do some research on it.
Keep it structured.
Keep it structured. Say hello.
Goodbye.
Say goodbye. There's a reason that Ouija boards have goodbye.
Yes.
Yes. So here, these are the 3 points from Emerald that she made clear at the end of our call. She said, you open and close portals. Know what you're doing. Do not fuck with portals. She made it very clear.
End the episode now.
Episode now. She also dropped a piece of knowledge on me that was pretty wild. She said that people can be portals.
Huh?
Yeah. She tried explaining it to me, and I got to be honest with you. That one I couldn't quite wrap my head around. So I don't know if I'm going to explain this correctly, but it basically was like, think of like a medium. Right. Or a psychic, right? You can be a portal. Either someone can like you theoretically like use you to communicate with someone, or you're constantly having communication between the other side. In which case it's very important, to know what you're doing and to not just sort of randomly start doing stuff.
Yeah. And, my mom is a medium professionally. And something she has always said to me is like, as a medium, probably because of this reason, it's very important that you're not just on all the time. Like, you need to know how to turn it off. So basically you're not just like a walking billboard to any spirit who wants to talk anytime. You need to know when to turn it off.
Yes.
Otherwise you'll lose it, because at a certain point you become more on that side than on this side.
Yeah.
And that's a problem.
You have to learn how to shut it off. You have to learn how to close. So you have to learn how to control it. Very important. The other thing I mentioned before was using protection, right? So I'm not an expert on that. So I think Being knowledgeable in that is quite important.
And protection is very individualized based on your belief system. So whatever your form of protection is,
correct.
Make sure you're doing it.
And then always know how to close the portal. Right now, when I was talking to Emerald, there are lots of methods for, like, let's say if like you do get a mirror secondhand and there's stuff happening through it. She kind of went into some detail of there are ways to do it. It didn't seem overly complex, but there's definitely like a method to it. That was like, okay, you gotta do this, you gotta spray it with, your vinegar water, and then you gotta wipe left to right and then top to bottom. And there was a whole entire method to it that I'm not even gonna pretend to know what to do. But there are methods to do it, but all in all, don't mess with portals. Just don't open them if you don't know how to close them. Just be smart about it. That's all. Okay, so we do have some of our own personal experience with portals. Taylor, you want to get into that a little bit?
Mm-hmm. So I had a haunted object submitted to me. It was a very cute, old-fashioned lamb stuffed animal.
It was very cute.
It's always the cute ones that get you. This little lady sends it in. She has zero experience with the paranormal whatsoever. She tells me I'm hearing scratching on the wall, voices, noises, footsteps, this, that, and another thing.
A lot of stuff.
Tapping. All of this stuff. And she also was telling me how she has no interest in the paranormal, but she had become basically obsessed with this thing. Like, totally obsessed. Like, it took a lot for her to send it to me, but she wanted to send it to me because she wanted me to, the goal of this was she wanted me to investigate it, tell her who and what it was, and then send it back to her. Because she didn't have the tools or the skills to be able to do that investigation herself. I said, sure. So she sends it in to me, and I'm having weird stuff with this thing. First of all, I run equipment with it, and I came to the conclusion that either this thing is insanely strong or it's been investigated before, because every single piece of equipment, cat ball, REM pod, light this, light that, whatever, anything I put in front of this thing, it set off instantly before I even gave the instruction of how to use it. And like the REM pod, for example, like it beeped and it kept beeping for like 10 minutes straight, wouldn't even stop. And I'm like, well, that's really a lot of activity. That's very strange. Like it was peculiar behavior for what I thought it was. So then I try to open up communication with it. With unfamiliar stuff, I will open up like a spirit box portal session on a speaker before I go into Estes method, because Estes method is giving that spirit a lot of control over you. And I didn't necessarily trust this thing yet. So I'm like, I'm going to do it on the speaker first, see what comes through before I go and, sacrifice myself in an Estes method session to this thing while I'm in a trance.
Probably smart.
Yeah. So get it on the speaker, and it was probably the weirdest spirit box session I've ever had. First I get a little kid's voice, then I get a different kid's voice saying hello. Then I start asking personal questions. Then I'm getting sworn at. I'm like, what's your name? And they're like, be hard with two names. Wouldn't answer the name. I'm getting like, I felt like I was talking to 8 different people in 15 minutes. It was so bizarre, so all over the place. Then I'm not getting anything on this thing. I'm getting suspect, because my dog had an injury where she got scratched. I got really sick. And so I'm like, and this thing's not answering questions. I'm like, something's wrong with this thing. So I started asking our haunted dolls stuff about it. One of my spirits, Destiny, she's like, I'm not talking about that thing. F that thing. She's like, it's like there's 6 people in there. And I'm like, oh boy, that's kind of what I was feeling from that session. That's very strange. She said that. I asked Astrid, oh, do you know their name? She's like, no, I don't know. One day I would have 0 issues. It would be totally fine, seem relatively friendly. The next day I would have growling in my hallway that was loud enough to catch on camera. Ooh. This thing was all over the place. It was growling at me on a live stream. I mean, this thing was messed up. So I'm having mediums read it. I'm trying to work with it. It's not giving me answers. It's getting weirder and weirder and weirder. And I'm like, I really think this thing is a portal where, depending on the day, it's somebody different every day or somebody different every 10 minutes. Like there was no consistency about it. And that's the scary thing about portals, right? Is 1 minute you could have a nice little kid walk through the door. The next minute you could have whatever the hell was growling at me walk through, and you just don't know what you're going to get. And that's what makes it kind of a safety risk, is because it's very unpredictable. So you don't even know how to manage it. So I said, I've had enough. My dog got scratched. I'm getting growled at. Not into this. Not my problem. I told the girl very honestly, I said, we've had injury stuff. We've had issues. I said, I would not suggest taking this back. She was still very obsessed with it, but she heard me and she chose to forfeit it and told me, do whatever the hell you want with this thing. I said, all right. So I sent it over to my friend who has been investigating haunted objects for a bajillion years. She did her own investigation. I sent her my investigation notes. She did her own investigation and she got the exact same thing I did. She said that thing is definitely a portal. She's like, I've gotten an old man, I've gotten a little girl, I've gotten some entity. Like she's like, it's crazy. And she said, everybody in my house has gotten sick from this thing. We've had scratching. Like, it was definitely a portal. And that's the thing about it, is like, one day that lamb was a little girl. The next day that lamb was something really scary. And you just don't know what you're going to get on any given day. Another famous example of a haunted object that's a portal that I never knew was a portal until very recently is Robert the Doll. I did an interview with Robert the Doll's caretaker, David Sloan.
The coolest guy ever, by the way.
And he said that the reason one person can like have an experience with Robert and get followed home, and then the next person in line can be disrespectful and also get followed home, is because Robert is a portal. So there's like a primary little girl spirit, there's a primary elemental spirit, and then there are these like protectors, and then there's all these other random spirits. He said he's been told upward of like 140 something. Oh. And these things just come in and out of that vessel. And so that's why so many people have the experience of getting followed, getting harassed, etc.
There's so many,
because there are so many to go around. It's not just one spirit, which is something that makes Robert really unique. And so David, when he says, oh, I'm the caretaker of Robert the Doll, he said, I'm the caretaker of the spirits, plural, who inhabit Robert the Doll. So that's another famous example that is known to be a portal as well. Not common, not a common thing. You don't see it very often. I've only actually heard of it in these 2 times. And my investigator friends who work with haunted objects, both of them were like, yeah, I've seen it maybe once, twice, like in my whole career, so it's not a common thing, but it can happen. And I got really lucky to experience that.
Look at us.
Yay.
I think another one, that there's supposedly there's a lot of famous places that are haunted that are portals too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is why a lot of times, like things especially at some haunted locations, experiences can be so incredibly different.
Yeah.
Right. Awesome. Fascinating. I love it. Let's get into a little bit of portals in folklore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was a little bit that I found. So the Celtic, once again, the Celtic culture, who we adore, they are big into portals. They really talked about portals a lot. They basically were described them as thin places. Where
interesting.
Yes, where the veil between worlds can be lifted. Calling a place a portal suggests that one could enter another world or dimension by passing through it. So one of the really famous examples would be a fairy mound or a fairy tree.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just a fairy portal.
It's just a fairy portal, right? Yeah. And fairy mounds were essentially these, land mounds that were thought to be like the passageway into the fairy world, and are still very highly respected.
As our fairy rings, the circles.
As our fairy rings, yes.
Same thing.
Same thing.
Just a fairy portal. Basically what people are talking
about. Yes. It was interesting because the Celtic also really, really, really use nature as a really significant example of portals. So they said wells, mountains, rock formations, caves, and tree stumps. They also said constructed things can be portals too. Think of it like a castle, a graveyard, a chapel, a stone circle, things like that, which I thought was really fascinating.
Yeah.
Now there are a couple of good examples in mythology. 2 main ones that I really, really liked. First is in Norse mythology, the Bifrost. I hope I say that correct.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Yes. So essentially, it is a burning bridge that reaches between Midgard, which is Earth, and Asgard, which is the realm of the gods. And it basically was the place that can be crossed by gods when they were going to visit the human world. And it was this like flaming fire bridge.
Cool.
So I thought that was pretty cool. There were some really cool pictures on it. So the second example of portals in mythology that I thought was fascinating were the Torii gates. So these were traditional Japanese gates that were most commonly found at the entrance of a Shinto shrine. So you've seen, or you may have seen, the shrines that are red and they have the two posts and like the overarching thing over the top. That is Torii gate. And it's meant to symbolize the break between the mundane and the sacred. So oftentimes they would be at like the entrance to somewhere sacred or shrines or temples or something like that.
Interesting.
And it was specifically designed so that some sort of deity or, spirit or something like that can actually pass through. So they would be able to have entrance into the shrine, let's say, which I thought was really cool.
So it's a constructed portal.
It is a constructed portal.
Okay.
That is correct. For the specific purpose of having a spirit pass through it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. The last one was in Greek mythology. They have the Acheron River, which is in northwestern Greece. This is a real river that was thought to be the place where souls would go to be ferried across by Charon, which is the guy who ferries the boat across the river Styx. Yeah. And that's guarded by Cerberus and all that stuff. But it's a real place that people thought that, when someone died, their spirits would go there. And they would go, and that would be another example of water.
Cool.
Yeah. There you go. I also found some hysterical examples of portals in movies and books.
Oh, this is fun.
I was so excited about this. So I think the most common one that really comes to mind is Alice in Wonderland. Right.
Yeah.
A literal down the rabbit hole, a break between, the regular world and that world.
Yeah.
Right. The second was the wardrobe, the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my favorite one was the closet in Monsters, Inc.
That makes sense.
It totally makes sense.
It's like 1,000 individual portals.
It's 1,000 individual portals. So the monsters would pass through.
Into kids' bedrooms, which sounds really bad when you say it like
that. It sounds a little bad that way. Like if you explained Monsters, Inc., it'd be like, I don't know if this is a kid's movie. But I thought that was really, really interesting. I had never thought about
Monsters, Inc. would be the craziest horror movie if they made it realistic.
Oh, absolutely.
Would it not be? I've always thought that. Like, if you made those actual monsters, it wasn't a cartoon, and it was like actual monsters going into people's rooms, that would be some shit.
That's scary.
Yeah. If you make that movie, give me credit.
You heard it here first.
It would be a crazy horror
movie. It would be a crazy horror movie. Okay, so we are going to go into our commercial break.
Yeah.
We will be back with our
crazy spirit of the
crazy spirit of the week. So we will see you in a sec.
Yes. See you soon.
All right, and we are back from our short commercial break with our spirit of the week.
It's Millie.
It's Millie. I adore Millie.
Yes, you do.
Yes. Taylor, you want to tell us a little bit about how Millie came to be here?
I don't even know. I just thought she was funny. To be honest with you, I don't have like this like
she is funny,
sweet, inspiring. No, I just thought she was funny. She was funny. She liked attention. She liked being the center of the universe, and her bio said that she would love to be on somebody's YouTube channel.
Yes.
So here she is on mine.
And we've had a lot of very funny experiences with Millie.
Oh my gosh, she cracks me
She's
up.
so funny.
She's one of the funniest spirits in our house.
I still remember there was a time where we were doing a spirit box session, and it started with, "We have beef," and I was like, "Oh my gosh, am I fighting with someone? Like, there's a spirit who doesn't like me right now." And I couldn't. And she was like, "Well, who is it?" Like me trying to guess who she is, and I'm like, "I don't know." She's like, "Mitchell, we have beef," and I was like, "Is this Millie?" She was like, "Yes, Mitchell, We have beef.
Her dad was a butcher.
Yes, her dad
and
was
so
a butcher.
She loves talking about meat. Bacon specifically is a big one. we get drops of sausage, beef, bologna, etc.
Yeah. But something
honestly,
about bacon.
Like, this was not in her bio at all. But it's like become her entire personality in our house. And to be honest with you, I think it started off as like she was just trying to tell us about this one time because it was like a part of who she is. And Mitchell gave her a big reaction because he thought it was really funny that she just like kept talking about bacon. And now I feel like she's made it her entire personality because she knows she'll get attention for it.
I'm not mad about it.
So she's just like taken it and like absolutely ran with it. She's a 5-year-old little girl and she's just a whole party. And
she's so funny.
She tests a lot of things, and if it's something that makes us laugh, she's gonna do it again and again and again. And that's what this bacon thing has turned into. Like, I don't think this is like a huge part of her personality before, but she has integrated this because Mitchell liked it. Yes. So
she's a very physical haunted doll. She moves a lot.
She pulls her hood over her eyes.
Because when I wake up before Taylor, so when I come in here, I always say hi to them. And I swear to you, the amount of times I pull her hood up over her eyes all the time, because it'll just be like way below her eyes.
She'll pop her thumb out of her mouth.
Or she'll just be like arms sprawled out.
She'll fall on the floor.
It is amazing.
Moves. Yeah, she just anything she can do to get you to notice that she's there.
Yes,
she's gonna do.
She's a hoot and a half.
Sometimes it's like living with Millie feels like living with a living child. Like she is
100%.
so she'll organize. I mean, TV marathons, movie marathons, and like we can't even watch our own TV. Like there's this one day she wanted to watch Max and Ruby, put on like 3 episodes. Girl sat in front of the TV for like 9 hours
with her friends.
We couldn't watch.
With her friends. She brought friends down. She said, I want to watch Max and Ruby with my friends.
But we couldn't turn it off. Like, we were just like, okay, well, we've lost our TV to a 5-year-old ghost.
But we've also noticed a lot of times. So if you have stuff on the TV or you've watched like, YouTube before, at the end, there'll be like a suggested video, but it won't like automatically click on it. If we leave it, it will somehow just like go on to the next one and then go on to the next one, and it will just run straight.
She'll do it on Netflix too. She'll watch a movie and then she'll
pick another movie.
Yeah, one day she was watching some kids movie and then I came down and Harry Potter was on and I'm like,
how did Harry Potter get on?
I'm like, I know this wasn't like a Netflix playlist. Like she just like she'll go from watching a kids cartoon to like Scary Movie 4, and
yeah,
you're like,
she does
okay.
like scary movies.
So yeah, she's peculiar. She's a lot of fun. She keeps our lives very interesting. And you can't not laugh around Millie. I mean, you could be in the worst mood and Millie is just going to make you laugh.
I think it's interesting because we have such an interesting dynamic in our house. Like we have some very, 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 very serious spirits, and that's amazing. We love them. But there's something about like, if I'm having a spirit box session and I don't know who it is, I either have to like really lock in if I'm like talking to Phineas and I gotta like, okay, I really gotta pay attention. I really gotta do all this kind of stuff. I really gotta, and then be aware.
Like, we have beef.
And then Millie's like, let's talk about playing games. I want to talk about bacon. And I'm like, yes, this is exactly the comedic relief that I need sometimes.
Yeah.
And she's great.
She's not one of those spirits that it's like pulling teeth to try to have a conversation with her.
Oh my goodness.
It flows very naturally. She's always got a topic. She's always got something to talk about. Chatty. She always has an answer. It's usually a long answer. Like she is all about it.
Yes.
And her dream was to be on somebody's YouTube channel. And so here she is. This is what Millie wanted in her next home. Like it was in her bio.
Yes.
Like Millie would really like to be on YouTube.
I bet she would be a really good actor.
Yeah.
Like she would be phenomenal.
And she's funny. Like when we just
like naturally funny.
Yeah. She doesn't. Yeah. It's very natural. We did her story, which is the link to her backstory is in the description, by the way. But we were filming her videos for it. And second the camera comes on, I mean, she was going crazy with the equipment. Like I've never seen a spirit set off a cat ball for 15 minutes straight. Like it didn't even turn off. Like I thought she broke it. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, Millie, did you break the ball? Like how is it still going? You know? And so I turned it off and I gave her a new ball just to make sure. Like I really thought it was broken. I didn't know it was her. Did it with the second ball. I was like, no, she's just literally like, must be like poke.
Yes, I love
just
it.
over and over.
Yes.
So
So let's get into some of her questions.
yes.
So as a reminder of how this works, we do a spirit box session prior to this with Millie. I ask her all the questions that are submitted from you guys, as well as a couple of other questions that we threw in there that I thought were fun. I write down Millie's answers word for word. I do not paraphrase. I do not do anything like that. So these are her direct answers. And then if you want to see that session, Taylor, where can they go?
TikTok subscription.
TikTok subscription. Awesome. So for some context, we did recently have Halloween. Millie was so excited to talk about Halloween. So I started with Millie. I said, hey, Millie, how are you? And she said, oh, hey, Mitchell, so good. I said, how was Halloween? She said, exciting. I played on the lawn with some friends. And then I asked, did you dress up? And she said, yes. I was a tree to blend in. And I said, did you scare kids? She said, absolutely, I did. And then she said, moving tree.
She does like to be scary. She likes to jump scare.
She does.
And it is funny.
I asked, was there a favorite costume you saw? She said there was a little kid. She was a clown with a red balloon, but also liked Ghostbusters. That's what we dressed up as. And she said it was very funny. And then I said, did you kind of get the joke? Like we're Ghostbusters? And she said, Millie is busted. Then she said, I love it. And funny dogs, which for context,
Our dogs dress up as ghosts.
our dogs dressed up as ghosts. She then say, Rory should have been demon and Molly ghost. It's important. So you're getting a sense of Millie's personality. She oozes personality. Cool. So some of the questions from you guys. First question was from Carly. Shout out.
Shout out, Carly.
They asked, hi, Bacon Millie. What are your top three favorite meats? Millie said, everything bacon, Carly. I like bacon, sausage, and bologna the best. There you go. Next question was also from Carly. Always has such insightful questions, by the way.
It never misses an episode.
Never misses. Their question was, if you could pick a group of 5, including yourself, for going to any type of amusement park or Disneyland, who would it be? And what would you guys do there? And Millie said, I think Millie, Hoshi, Jenny, Samika, and Dove would like rides the most. We ride big roller coaster and eat funnel cake.
For context, every single one of those spirits jump scares. She picked every spirit that jump scares and was like, those are the ones.
Those are going to be my friends. This was my favorite answer. Caitlin, shout out Caitlin, asked, what is your favorite thing about bacon and why? And Millie said, and I cannot make this up. This is quite literally what she said. It's salty, the best, and you can throw it like a frisbee.
What? This is not the first time she's brought up throwing bacon before.
Don't you see? Like you throw it and it'll spin and
I've never chucked bacon before.
Why not?
Clearly I'm missing out on something, Mitchell. Clearly I've missed something. Like I've missed like a key part of life.
She kills me. Next question was from Caitlin. They asked, if you could eat only one type of meat for a week, what would it be? One word answer. Taylor, can you guess what it is?
Bacon.
Bacon.
It's always bacon.
It's always bacon.
She said bacon like 17 times in 5 minutes one time.
I love it.
She's all about it.
Next question is from LT. Shout out. If you could go on a trip anywhere, who would you take and where would you go? Great question. And Millie said, I would go to a butcher shop and play at the park with Heidi. Cute.
Not a vacation. A butcher shop.
A butcher shop.
Mitchell, why don't you take her to a butcher shop?
I should. We have one down the street. She'd probably like have the time of her life.
Probably.
Next question from LT. What is the best way to eat bacon? And have you tried chocolate covered bacon? Millie said, yeah, I love it. It is best when crispy. I know. I threw in a couple of questions at the end because I just love talking to Millie. So
I couldn't.
I couldn't. She's great. I asked, what is your favorite animal and why? And Millie said, I like puppies because they are so small. Is this a trick question?
Why
And
would
I
it be a
said,
trick
I said, no. Why would it be a trick question? And then she said, I don't know. So I don't know. But
Okay.
anyways,
I don't know.
next question I asked, what is something you want everyone to know about you? And Millie said, everyone will see Millie is the best.
Do you see it, people?
Do you see it?
Do you see it?
Next question I asked, Millie, what is your favorite way to communicate with us? And she said, I like little ball. And to give you some context, if you go watch that video Taylor talked about earlier,
Her story, yeah.
her story, I thought it was like on a loop. I was like, Taylor, this must be on a loop.
No, I was like, no, Mitchell, it was like one cut. Like it was not edited together. I had like a 10-minute straight video of just the ball over and over and over and over and over.
And
again.
it doesn't do that.
No.
I've never seen it do
No.
that before.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive. I mean, those are hard because they're touch activated.
They are hard.
They're not like, it's not like motion, which is a little bit easier. Like it is touch. Like you have to touch the ball.
Yeah, it's hard.
She must have been like,
she is very physical. Like she's great.
she's kind of a bruiser.
Jesus. Goodness. Last question I asked Millie, what is your favorite memory from living here? Taylor, this is with you. Millie said, I fell off the bed and Taylor jumped and said, oh no, what happened, Millie?
That's not with me, that's at me.
Do you remember this happening?
Yes. I was like walking over there to get something from the closet. So my back was like perfectly to her. And she like nosedived, ended up over here. This is her spot right here.
It is a distance.
She ended up like over here by where Mitchell's chair is, face down in the middle of the floor. And she's heavy. Like she's weighted.
She is heavy.
And I mean, she hit the ground and it was like, boom. And I was like, and I turned, it scared the shit out of me. So I like jumped and turned around and I was like, what happened? Like it scared me so bad.
And she probably got such a kick out of it.
Oh yeah. I mean, she was face down. So like it wasn't like she like tumbled off the side and just dropped. No, it was like fing.
What was it like? One more time?
Bing.
There we go. Perfect. Incredible. I did ask if she wanted to keep the bat hoodie, by the way. She said no. She needs a Christmas one.
Yeah, she's got bat wings.
And then she said, need hood. I was like, okay. We'll get you one with a hood. I said, Millie, do you have anything else to say? She said, happy day to you people.
Happy day, you people.
Happy day to you people. So that's Millie.
She's outstanding.
I just can't get enough of her.
She's excellent.
She's so funny and silly. She's got so much personality. I think she's a great example of why haunted dolls shouldn't be scary. Right? Because you have to remember, like, she's just silly.
Sometimes they're falling on the floor.
Sometimes they're falling on the floor because they just want to make you laugh. And it's just like, it's so fun. And I just love it.
Yeah. She's amazing.
She is so fun. And she's such a staple in our house. Everyone knows.
She's
Millie.
like Mitchell's child.
I mean, it's not like I like take her and Emma around randomly sometimes. I'll just carry her around sometimes. She's fun to hold. She feels good to hold.
I like how you said no, and then you're explaining how you do it.
Okay, guilty. All right. Goodness. Awesome. Well, that is our Portals episode.
We have a lot of updates for you, however.
Yes.
So
updates.
Something super, super, super exciting that we have going on is our friends, Ken and George, over at Dead Air. Their podcast I've been on a couple times, so you may be familiar with them already. And if you're not, you should be.
Go check them out.
Definitely go check them out. We are super excited. They have invited us to air this show, not only on our channel, but also on their channel. So we will continue doing the live premieres here and everything like that. But we are going to be over there as well, which is super, super exciting. The other thing, we are changing the time of the podcast release because they're a paranormal channel and they have different paranormal shows pretty much every day of the week. They have all different shows on all different topics related to the strange, the paranormal, the unusual.
Cooking shows.
Yeah, amazing. But we are going to be taking over their Saturday night slot. So we are moving from Sunday to Saturday. So these live premieres will be every Saturday at 7 p.m. Central instead of Sunday, beginning next week. So the next episode, you will see us on Saturday at 7. It will be dropping over there as well. The live premiere, though, will be here, not over there. The other thing that is super exciting is, in addition to our podcast being on their channel, they have also been gracious enough to share some of their stuff with us. So some of the best of Dead Air is going to be uploaded to my channel so that you can see some of their interviews with high profile people in the paranormal field, some location investigations at locations that either may not even exist anymore to be able to be open to the public, or places that are just way off for us. Frankly, they're incredible. So we will be releasing some of their videos over here on my channel. So you can be looking out for those. There will be a place on my profile that says Best of Dead Air, and you can look for those there to see more. So we are very excited to be joining them.
Yes.
It is a huge honor and a privilege for us. We feel so grateful to be able to have this opportunity.
Very
and
appreciative.
I'm excited to see what you guys think of all the upcoming stuff. So definitely be on the lookout for that. And we make sure you note we are now on Saturdays. Yeah. So there's that.
I think that's it.
Yeah. And where can they find you?
I am at Paranormal Mitch on TikTok.
And I am at Paranormal Teach on YouTube and TikTok.
Yes. Thank you for joining us on this wonderful episode. I hope you enjoyed learning about Millie.
Yes.
And we will see you next week on Saturday.
Yeah. See you next week. Bye,
Bye-bye.
everybody.